Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Council of Future Conflict. My name is Scott, the proprietor of the Future Conflict channel. Today we're doing episode 620. Trump doing work and Bondi does job. That wasn't the original title. What is it? Breaking news.
Yeah, it was.
Bondi does her job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. I mean, partially she did it. She's still got some follow up to do on that one. But as of right now, I don't think that you can directly put the finger in her face and say she didn't do it. And let's be honest, none of us thought that she would do it and what she did do. So, I'm not here to say that we're wrong because she still has not done most of her job. She just happens to have been right this one time. Joe,
she
how you
could
doing?
move I'm good. She could move the venue to Washington, D.C. I've heard that helps. Right.
Right.
But we will be doing a video, or I've got the video done. I just have to do a little bit of editing on it, where we tested out this Havoc Industries M10 flashbang. It worked fantastic. So it's a good little tool. 10 gauge blanks. A little bit of flash, a little bit of smoke.
What's the how long is the timer on it?
It's about a second and a half.
Okay, so it's pretty damn quick. So it's pull pin quick. And get it the fuck
pull
out
and
of your hand.
Pull and toss. Yeah. You don't want to let go of the spoon until you know it's on the way, right?
Yeah.
And they were worried that the spoon wouldn't hold up, but it did. And they're still sending me another spoon, but it worked flawlessly. So good stuff.
Good deal.
That was pretty cool. I did that day before yesterday, and lots of fun things going on. Went to the Veterans Service meeting yesterday here in Kalispell to plan out our month of serving veterans and some more fundraisers and things like that. So cool stuff going on.
You should ask them, when are you guys going to serve me?
I'm sorry?
You should be like, when are you going to serve me? Because I'm one of these.
The minute you become a veteran, we're going to take good care of you. And I would urge you to do that as soon as possible.
All right. But no, I wasn't meaning me. I mean, like, you should say that. Like, listen, I'm the veteran here.
Hey, I think they've taken pretty good care of me, so I don't have any complaints whatsoever.
No, I know. I tell you, I feel like you've gotten a lot of satisfaction out of that. So that's been one of those kind of good news stories that I don't even know that you were expecting to come across when you made the move there.
And Linda said this herself. One of the best things she likes to do is at an event when some troubled veteran comes up. She notices that Alan and I both gravitate to that person and pull them aside and have a long conversation, and we may end up changing a life or whatever. And we do that quite often. The old guy and I are a pretty good 1-2, and we do help guys out. And Patrick 7, I only did that the one time. Joe kicks in the door. I demand pancakes and White Monster. And you know what they did in that hotel? They delivered me pancakes and White Monster.
There you go. Watcher, how's the world treating you?
Good. For those of you who are going to be coming out to Mountain Readiness West, that are signing up for the chicken class, your chicks are in the incubator. They've officially started today. They'll be exactly old enough. Well, they'll be slightly older than harvest weight by a couple weeks, so you'll have some extra weight on them, and going to be good birds. You should come out. You should get signed up. You should definitely get signed up for that class if you want to take it, because I need to know exactly how many of these birds I need to send to you guys.
Yeah, you need to let me know what the cost is on that so we can take care of that. But we're gonna have a good time at that event. So, and guess what? There are already 14 people have bought tickets already, and I just took my 3rd and 4th RV reservation for that week. So,
very cool.
If you want to camp here, you should probably let me know pretty darn quick. So
PDQ, yeah.
I'm gonna guess the rooms are already booked out.
I probably have you situated, so don't worry about it.
Well, good. I was actually meaning though for the people who are thinking about needing rooms in case
rooms are all going to be staff and whatever. I won't have any rooms available.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well-
either a tent or an RV. Good news is you have a choice.
Or, a lot of people have very cleverly done the whole truck with a camper shell on it, and then just furnish the inside of that out if you,
We have plenty of tent and camper room.
Yep.
Well, and I'm gonna go way beyond the Montana legal limit on RVs, so I'm not that worried about it.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question. What's the deal with the exploding trees?
So the tree doesn't.
Yeah.
The tree doesn't actually explode. It can happen to sugar maples. It happens to first.
Yeah,
just
okay.
because
I was
the
wondering if it
composition.
was sugar maples. Okay.
Well, so it happens to them first just because of the composition, but it can happen to almost any tree, depending on like the chemistry of their sap will depend on how low it has to get. There's not an exact point, but it's somewhere around -40. And if you've ever been walking out in the woods and you heard something that sounded like a gunshot, but there was no one else around, and so nobody could have shot, it was and it was incredibly cold, is probably that. So what happens is that as the sap freezes, basically it's expanding, and the bark is basically like a sausage casing, right? And so eventually it reaches the pressure at which the bark splits, and then goes off like a gunshot.
Yeah, it's not like the trees literally explode and said fragmentation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I remember hearing about this relating to trees in the South, because the trees in the South generally don't handle like sub 20-degree weather very well. And so it's a kind of a juxtaposition of temperate tree, super cold weather.
I think it has more to do with the fact that social media is a thing and everyone likes to report everything breathlessly.
Yeah.
Like, there are people freaking out thinking like forests are actually like a minefield now. I'm like, it's not a big deal.
I think my favorite take on this has to have been the whole, well, listen, gents, exploding trees is only to be expected. After the Ent wives left, I suppose terrorist incels was the only place for the Ents to go, right?
Well, I just remember something about this from when my Boy Scout days, but of course it was the real version, not the breathless, oh my god, basement dweller version. So
right,
it wasn't a big deal back in the day, but now it's like, what? Fucking exploding trees? What is it? All right. So, hey guys, this is a kind of a pre-odds and ends. It didn't make it into the odds end, but I want to show this off here because we were talking about before the show about the lack of action in Iran, and so we had all kind of independently heard different things, and we're expecting Iran action in the last 48 hours, and it hasn't occurred. And so I just thought this was a kind of this is as of yesterday, I believe. And basically U.S., European, Central Command, air and naval assets. So this just kind of goes through and shows you what's in the area. And if you look down in the Indian Ocean, not quite in the Arabian Sea yet, which is kind of where you need to be for the CENTCOM AOR, is the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group that is moving diligently in that direction. A destroyer just parked itself, the Roosevelt, off the coast of Israel. I think that was yesterday, with the idea that they will provide additional anti-ballistic missile coverage for Israel. So, Joe, I'm thinking that we're probably in the final stages of the set, the pieces all getting kind of put into place so that we don't have to rely on in-country assets. I.e. flying over Iraq, flying over Saudi Arabia, or any of these other things. I don't know. They may stage out of Jordan, but that might just be more of like defensive patrols out of those places. What do you think about that?
I'm thinking that it's ridiculous that we have an LCS named after Canberra, but
yeah.
But that's just silly. I think that again, just like anything else, those marine assets in Bahrain are positioned for recovery of any pilots that go down.
Yeah,
and I think that we are transiting things there. I think what would be the indicator is where the Lincoln Group parks. If it parks just off of the Iran-Pakistan border, it's on. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, if it goes more like south of Yemen, then that's a little less definitive of a
They don't want to
location.
overfly Yemen just to get to Iran.
Yeah.
Or Oman either.
So interesting thought here, gents. I think that our lack of preparedness to execute the strikes speaks to the fact that it might not have actually been the CIA who kicked these revolutions off.
Well, I think if anybody's to blame that's external, it's probably Mossad. I hate to be the Mossad. Mossad Monday was Monday. This is free for all Friday.
I think that's probably fair, but it does state that we either didn't really know about it or didn't think it was going to work, and so we didn't have assets pre-staged.
Well, here's the other thing too, right? And I know this is the one the guys like us don't tend to trust, is that it may be a spontaneous and organic uprising.
Well, honestly, that's actually what my money's on. I think, and I've been saying this from the beginning, ultimately this is about water. Like they've told people to get prepared to evacuate the capital like 7 or 8 times in the last 3 months.
Let's see. I'm just kind of going through this guy's analysis to see what he says. All right,
the Abraham, real quick. The first squadron listed on the Abe is VMA 314, VMFA, Marine Fighter Attack Squadron, the Black Knights, who are famous for their role in repelling the alien invasion on Independence Day.
Yeah.
So great to know. Let's get them, Knights. So,
and if anybody's following, I mean, we're not going to get deep dive into Iran too much today, but if anybody's following, you'll note that both PKK and the Peshmerga, ironically enough, are both going into Iran and into Syria at this moment. Talk about having more fight than you have fighters for.
Turkey's like, is it really this easy?
Well, I know, right? I know. Here's the thing: Turkey wants to figure out how to get into Iran. That's what I think. But
well, Scott, I mean, we don't have much time to talk about Iran because we have to talk about a far more insidious nemesis, one which has plagued us for far longer than Iran, one which has actually successfully burned down the White House.
That's true. Yeah. So Canada's military preps of hypothetical U.S. invasion in historic first. So, gentlemen, we talk about likely future conflict on this show. This might go under the heading of future conflict, but I would have to put it in the category of very unlikely.
And we talk about this exact article like 2 days ago.
No, not this article. It wasn't this article. It was
because this one had the same picture and everything.
Well, so it has advanced, Joe. I'm sorry to tell you. So the last one was that the officers had leaked that people were doing it. Now they're out in the open doing it.
Yeah. Yep. So, this is from Friday the 23rd. Quite surprising and a bit absurd to read the lines in one of Canada's premier and most widely read newspaper. The Canadian Armed Forces have modeled a hypothetical U.S. military invasion of Canada and the country's potential responses, which include tactics similar to those employed against Russia and later U.S. led forces in Afghanistan to Senator. 2 wars that have fuck all to do with what it would look like if America went after Canada. This is widely to believe a first in the history of Canada's military, given that there's never been a reason for a founding member of NATO to be attacked by another founding member of a NATO. Globe and Mail additionally stated the 2 neighbors are also partner closely coordinated in continental defense via NORAD or North American Aerospace Defense Command, but Canadians no doubt woke up shocked on Tuesday when they beheld the U.S. president sharing the following on social media. Yeah, I mean, so we talked about this the other day, the whole kind of like, basically he is fucking trolling these people. He trolled them so hard, they gave him almost everything he wanted. And if I remember correctly, the deal is basically Denmark will continue to pay all the money that they were already paying to Greenland. Trump gets all the defense sites he wants, and he gets all the mineral rights that we want without paying, with a cost of zero to the U.S. And everybody, and so they're shaking deals on this. They're working the deal out, and everybody's looking over at Canada, being like, "Dude, what are you doing, man? Nobody's fucking invading Greenland, much less Canada." Like what are they thinking? I mean, Mark Carney, we're going to talk about him in a little bit, but this is not a good look.
No.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's so doing it all breathlessly out, like as we pointed out the other day when we covered it, like it was fine and dandy when they were doing it behind closed scenes. That's literally something that like you toss to just like low-level strategists. It's like, hey, here's a fun thought exercise, right? Like the US is going to invade Liechtenstein, so figure out how we do that, right? That doesn't mean the U.S. planned to invade Liechtenstein. It's the U.S. has a lot of countries that has a lot of strategists that need to get trained and need to think up all these kind of different pieces and bits, right? But to do it out publicly, breathlessly, and being like, "Oh, this is about to happen. We need help," is I think it's a fair estimate to say that it's a sign of their self-perceived insecurity in their own defensive measures, that they like even just a little whiff of anything makes them feel that insecure that they have to start the public planning phase and let it be leaked that most of their plan relies on having an armed citizenship stop the Americans, except for that they're literally in the process as we speak right now of disarming their citizens.
Well, so, if in places like NORAD, there's a lot of Canadians that actually work in like on these U.S. bases. And, like when I was at NATO, there was a lot of Canadians around and whatnot. Actually, the Canadians had a pretty large contingent. Imagine being the Canadian guy coming into work like this morning and be like, okay, Jim, do I surrender to you, or Bob, are you the one that's going to take my surrender? And then what do I need to do to then get my commission in the U.S. Army so that I can start like really doing my job, and defending my homeland?
I just attached to this, I want to say I've heard a lot of shit talking from NATO that about this and Greenland that the U.S. doesn't have any Arctic trained troops. Not only are you wrong, you are dead wrong, and just in the sense of sportsmanship, I want to warn you that no, that's not even close to, that's not even half correct. Like,
well, the one battalion that they have, the battalion commander goes out to his company commander, says, "All right, man, I need you to go and buy whatever you need. Here's the Impact credit card. Go ahead and buy whatever you need." So that we can get ready to do a battle with the U.S. And so the company commander says, "Roger that, sir." And then later in the day, he's the battalion commander's picking up something at the PX, the Canadian PX, so that'd be the CPX. And he sees one of the company commanders buying a large quantity of bed sheets, and he's like, "Oh, I get it. They're going to do winter camouflage." He goes up to him to congratulate him on the initiative. And just when the company commander sees the battalion commander, he looks up and says, "Sir, do you think that these bed sheets, if we cut them in half each, would make appropriate size white flags for each of our vehicles?" And the battalion commander says, "Carry on." I mean, it's like, what's the reality what's got to be going through the sane officers in the Canadian Army's head when they see this kind of shit? At least they got cool.
They realize that it's about as likely as anything else they do in a day, right? Like, this is not really going to happen, but they're paying me to do it, so I'm going to produce a document. But they're not really considering a war with the U.S. It's just silly.
Yeah. Well, it says here even this would include clashes along the border, focus on ambushes and sabotage, as well as classic hit and run tactics. The Globe stressed that what's being molded remains a conceptual and theoretical framework, not a military plan, which is actionable and step-by-step directive for executing operations. Naturally, the Western media and tabloids are having fun with this one. Two senior government officials and military planners are modeling a U.S. invasion from the south, expecting American forces to overcome Canada's strategic positions on land and at sea within a week and possibly as quickly as 2 days.
So that's false. Canada has no strategic positions.
Yeah, well,
Alberta.
I'm gonna stop you at another place there too. If we're gonna talk about it, see, you guys literally don't have a navy. Like
That's right.
It would take far less time than it took us to stomp all over Iran's navy to stomp on what couple of little puddle hoppers you guys still have.
Ready the ship. You mean ready the ship, sir? No, I mean literally ready the ship.
Joey, the signature picture of the surrender of their navy would be the guy in a Canadian naval uniform surrendering his pistol or his flag to a U.S. naval officer on a museum ship, because that's the only ship that's worth taking a picture of.
Pretty much. Well, or like the sub pens that they have, where every single submarine they have is under maintenance and cannot go to sea.
No. You're thinking of the action. You're not thinking of the correct one. You should think of the active sub pen where all the subs that go in there are American subs.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Let's see here. Such an insurgency-style response, as opposed to setting up a conventional battlefront, seems an acknowledgement that America's armed forces would be far superior to Canada's small military. Yeah, of course it would be. I mean, it's not even a question. Though they do have pretty badass LAV-25s. I guess that's not technically an LAV-25, but it's basically like, kind of like a hybrid between a Striker and a LAV-25. Let's see. The two NATO powers are nowhere near that point, of course. That's right, because nobody's fucking fighting over Greenland. Let's just be honest. All right. Anyway, sorry. Moving on. We got a late start today, and I want to apologize for that. But we'll try to hastily get through everything, but in a complete manner. U.S. begins transfer of ISIS prisoners from Syria to Iraq. Mole's full withdrawal. Yeah. So basically, my understanding, Joe, is that the fucking Syrians were tearing ass through the SDF positions. And eventually the Americans basically had to come back in, retake blocking positions, call al-Jilani up, and basically says, stop your ass, because we're not going to let you free these ISIS prisoners. Let's see. U.S. CENTCOM announced a fresh statement that it launched a mission to transfer ISIS fighters from Syria to Iraqi government-controlled facilities. The announcement came hours after Syrian army entered the Al-Hawal camp in the country's north, resulting in the escape of thousands of ISIS and ISIS-linked prisoners. CENTCOM launched a new mission to transfer ISIS detainees from the northeast Syria to Iraq to help ensure the terrorists remain secure. Detention facilities, the CENTCOM statement said the transfer mission began when the U.S. forces successfully transported 150 ISIS fighters held at a detention facility in Hasaka, Syria, to a secure location in Iraq. Ultimately, up to 7,000 ISIS detainees could be transferred. Joe, what would have been a shame is if they chained them all together, and then sat them on the Black Hawk. And then, just kind of like as they're flying, whoa, oh no, they just all slid out of the Black Hawk. Well, let's go pick up another group of them. I don't know why they just don't execute all of them. That would be the easy answer.
Yeah. Look, it's 6 to 1, half dozen of the other, because you could do that also with the Syrian government forces and the ISIS.
Pretty much.
And I would not be opposed to either outcome. I think that we should give al-Jilani a new helicopter. One with a one that where the maintenance has been exclusively done by in-country personnel. We'll let that problem work itself out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pagers.
we fixed the glitch, Bob.
Yeah, we fixed the glitch.
Let's see.
Reference.
By the way, I hate pagers, anyone? But did you guys see the pager stickers at SHOT Show?
Hold on a second. We just referenced that wonderful movie Office Space. Guys, you will be proud of me. This week I turned some young folk onto not one but two great movies. The first was Idiocracy, and the second was Old School. Like, not only had they not seen them, they never heard of them. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with your generation? So I showed them
exactly what's wrong with their generation. They don't know how to laugh, right?
Well, these ones are okay. They're good eggs. I wouldn't even let them in my office if they weren't good eggs. The American Documentary, yes. And the irony is that there was a report talking about men and women, and then divided in by ideology, right wing versus left wing, and that left wing women are having the fewest amount of kids, and right wing men are having the most amount of kids, and then it corresponded,
men don't have kids.
What they father children.
Okay, but they don't have kids.
You know what I'm saying. Anyway, the point is that your conservatives are just having a lot more kids than liberals, because the liberals are, liberal women are just not getting married the way conservative women are. So it was that launched us into the conversation. And I remember the opening scene from Idiocracy, where like the redneck keeps knocking up his baby mamas, and the liberal couple just waits to have kids, and then finally the man dies, and the woman says, "My eggs are frozen, so if I meet somebody, there's hope." Oh, anyway, sorry.
Very different sense of humor.
Well, it's good to see some people not have kids. Also abortion damages the reproduction. That's right. It makes it harder. Yeah, PCU was another one that was classic. A lot of stuff in PCU was very prophetic.
I actually like the rest of that quote that we did share about fixing the glitch. She goes, "Oh, so Milton's been fired." Slow down there, Professor. I said we fixed the glitch. You won't be getting a paycheck anymore, so the problem will sort of work itself out.
I love that. Hey, Low-Key LARP in the chat over on Rumble just gifted 5 subs to y'all, good people. So if you're in YouTube chat and you don't have a membership over on Rumble, go jump in there, make a comment, and that should trigger. There's 3 more left, so that should trigger the membership.
I want to give a little update on a topic we kind of half covered a minute ago. Silver just hit $100 an ounce.
I mean, you saw it here first. We talked about that. What was silver really started to make a move? What, about a month ago? It went up to like 60 or something like that. It went from like 40 to 60, right?
Yeah, and it was a little more than a month ago. It was around Christmas, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Well, no, Christmas would almost be exactly.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I thought we were further along in January.
At home, and then she was like, "Wait, we have a lot of silver." I'm like, "We do."
But she's like, "Can we trade that silver now for money?"
We're not giving out a dime of that silver.
What's funny is that like a couple months ago, it would have been your silver, Joe.
Here's the funny yeah, now it's her silver. Here's the thing to remember, guys. When you have an inflating asset, right, you get rid of the asset that's losing value first. And in this case, the asset that's losing value is cash money, right? Now, If you want to save, you can transfer it into metals or bullets or stocks or whatever the fuck it is you want to transfer it into. But what you don't want to do is just hold on to cash, because you're literally losing money when you hold on to cash. Not investment advice.
I feel like I have to be stand here and say this is not financial advice.
Yeah, well, that's what I just said. This is not financial advice. This is banking advice.
And by the way, I watched this movie last night. It was a TV show. It's an Argentinian TV show called The Eat or Not, and it's about an apocalypse type situation. But in the beginning, the first scene, the two main characters that are in it, it's like Stan and Jim riding in a car. I was like, I've been in this car before with these two dudes. But
what was it? What was it called? What was it?
It's called The Eternaut. Eternaut. It's actually very good. And George the Laser Ham, if you're watching, you should have told me that you were a movie star in Argentina, because it's literally you that plays the main character. Dude looks just like George, acts like George. It's crazy.
All right, so closing that out, nothing good happening in Syria as it relates to ISIS. We will continue to monitor that. All right, so this is a little on the dark side, but this is reality. Joe, we've all seen those kind of leftist crowds that we're like, belt-fed machine gun. That's the thing that would fix that problem. Unfortunately, like that's that dark humor that guys like us use, right? Because even if given the opportunity, we wouldn't do that, right? Because you can, that's what you call indiscriminate fire, which is invariably kills the people you're shooting at and the people behind them and potentially the people in the building behind them. So that's the reason why, while we may joke about it, we would never do it. In the case of Iran, they have decided that they're just going to do it. And that's what this is video of.
I don't know. In the applications I've suggested it in, I actually would. Of course, I've never said on vehicles just to get crowds. I've said stuff like, okay, if they want to try and overrun a federal court building and try and burn it down, you set a couple of these up in the lobby and you paint a line, and anybody who crosses or throws something past that line gets it.
So, but unfortunately, that's really happening to real people who have not done anything wrong.
These guys are just protesting. They're just out in the street saying what they want to say.
I mean, I would go so far as to say they may even be rioting, but that shouldn't be a death penalty. And yet, this is how you get 30,000 dead Iranians, which is where they're saying the number is right now, maybe higher, as high as 50,000.
I guarantee you it's higher. Yeah.
I just because you see a number, I mean, that would just be my guess. 6, 7. I'm sorry.
They're just somebody's pointing out what vehicles are in the shot.
Oh, okay.
Hilux 2003 with a machine gun in the back. They come standard. Right, there is some type of a machine gun always hidden under the back board of a Hilux. You just have to find it. That's why you can't buy them here.
That's a van, I guess. Toyota Hiace. Whoever this is the kind of OSINT I like.
So this next one is basically, just to let you know that you don't hate Antifa enough, because this is like a mimetic virus that has spread throughout the world. They have provided a nice green flag that will allow Watcher to now superimpose any flag he wants onto their flag.
Well, not just a flag, because look, this is a video, Scott. So if I can find, for instance, a Goatsy video, what the center of their flag is going to be now, right?
I think you should make a future conflict flag. And then you can use AI voice to make them,
but they'd still be dirty communists. We don't want to say that they're watching our show.
I want to know where that cat got that rifle. The AKs I can buy, but that rifle is a pretty legit piece of kit right there.
Yeah. Well, this is where Malaysia?
I believe
no,
so.
This is actually in Syria. I mean, but that's where they came from. Oh no, I guess not.
Yeah.
Well,
internationalist youth stand. Here's what I wonder if it's fucking airsoft.
all right. So in Myanmar, where did you get that rifle? Right.
Yeah. So the most of the ARs that have been showing up in Myanmar have been okay. So those PDF videos, the drive-by helmet camera videos where they just completely wreck house on the Myanmar security forces. Those ARs are almost entirely from China, believe it or not.
I think I have an answer, and it's worked out by process of elimination. There are 3 white guys in this photo. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 ARs in this photo. 1, 2, 3. What does the Asian guy have?
Advisors from
holding
outside.
AK. Yeah, these are
those
Western
3 dudes are
advisors.
clearly not Asian of any type,
and they probably brought their own with them.
And that guy needs to learn what the beaver tail on a rifle is for. So
yeah.
Hey, play the audio.
Oh, sure.
Hello, Lenin Lover. Slavodes and Shurish Gedi. Greetings and revolutionary regards from the comrades of the AIF.
Yeah, he's American.
Now in Myanmar.
He's American, 100%, which means all 3 of them are. And this guy's probably wanted, which is why he's got his face covered and he's
probably
down so they can't see his eyes.
You know what I would do, given the flag being held and it being brand new, clearly from Amazon, I would check Sivdiv's old videos of him in Ukraine and see if he's carrying that rifle.
That's not a bad idea.
I know. As I'm looking at him and his mannerisms, I'm just saying.
Can we get a voice print? I think we can do that, actually.
Our favorite boy from the Detroit suburbs.
And for those of you who are saying, oh, well, how would he get his rifle from Ukraine or whatever to wherever it is he probably didn't. He just got the accessories. You basically set up any basic AR into whatever you want, with accessories that you could put in any checked luggage. Malcolm Nance is the cameraman.
Right.
Yeah, he's running their sniper school, evidently.
Stand by.
All right.
No, I was just going to say Antifa is literally everywhere, and Antifa's already heavily engaged in Rojava, has been from day one.
Yeah. They when they were fighting back in a dozen years ago or so fighting ISIS in Iraq, they were Antifa guys were there. All right. ALX posts over on X. They know exactly what they're doing. This is a recipe for disaster. Arizona AG wildly suggests residents can shoot masked ICE agents under state self-defense laws. And if one of them does this, her quote of saying that they can do this becomes an admission of
it becomes Exhibit 1, and she becomes charged with seditious conspiracy.
It's
it
exactly
actually is sedition right here, saying you can shoot federal agents. That is literally sedition.
Yeah, and if to be more specific, this is what you'd call stochastic terrorism, where you provoke people via the news media and mass media, social media, things like that. Because a large group is statistically predictable that one of them will hear her and then do it, even if you can't directly link the two.
I will point out
almost
yet again that armed opposition or armed hindrance of federal law enforcement is sedition.
And there's some lefties and some lefties who call themselves libertarians that have been trying to point out, like, oh, isn't that what the Second Amendment is for? Okay. In the words of the last guy who tried this, you have the right to rebel. You have the responsibility then to take on what comes after that.
All right. So anyway, that's that's all the odds and ends worth talking about. Joe, you want to talk a little bit about tactical-wisdom.com?
Why the heck not? So there is a video or an article out about preparing your vehicle. It's going to be part of a series of preparing yourself and your gear and everything else for unrest. And perhaps Saturday night we'll do a video on locals about this. So you know what? Probably not Saturday night. Maybe sometime next week.
Scott, Joe, it was very nice, Mr. Bovino, to do a live demonstration of it right after you dropped this article. By the way.
All right. Anyway, we're going to talk about these things and some of the little known facts, like where do you put your backpack in your car when you're out driving around? It can't be in the trunk because you might not have time to grab it, so you have to put it somewhere you can reach it. And in the executive protection world, not executive protection, private military world, we tell them the driver puts it in the center of the back seat, can reach it with one hand and get out. That way you can also carry passengers. So figuring out how to set up your vehicle, how to put your gear around, and how to be ready. And one of the most important things that are on here, just like it shows on the screen right there, is when somebody says, but I live in a rural area. Scott and Watcher, you both been here. Does anybody live more rural than me?
Probably not.
I mean, seriously.
There may be some backwoods people in the holler that are a little more rural than you, but not many. And we had protests on both sides of me. So these protests are going on everywhere. You have to have ideas and plans in place no matter where you are. We'll talk a little bit more about smoke and things like that and how to use them, what the purpose of a reusable flashbang is. And they're coming out with a non-reusable type. What would suck is for me to throw this $299 item out the window and not be able to get it back. But they're considering a $100 or so item that you can throw out the window and leave. But good stuff. Check out the article and start following me over on Locals. We have lots of additional content there. And actually, I'm going to be doing a book study. For those of you who are following me over there, we're going to start a book study of On Resistance to Evil by Force by Ilian. Where we talk about the moment we're in and why Christians need to decide to step up, and that it is not only biblical, but also your duty to violently resist evil. And despite what Pastor Gabe or whatever his name is says on Twitter. So check that out. Buy some books, send them to your friends. I got a book to mail today for somebody. And go through the whole site, look at it all, look at our training schedule. I have not updated it yet. I have a whole bunch more. Unfortunately, due to a commitment for the Veterans Service Group, I cannot make it out to North Carolina in February. But plan on all of my classes in October during the Scout and Recce time period. We'll do field craft, Scout, Recce, and then community security ops in the fall. Matt and I have already talked about it. It's already on the plan. And things will be different. So check it out, get on there. And let me just go with what Reverend Hazmat said. I need to make sure that you're posting about the July event. We need to shame certain companies for past behavior. Hey, knowing some inside information on that, I'm not going to shame them. Yeah. They were going through a very particular situation at the time that I didn't even realize I was involved in, but I was. So, so I'm going to give them a little bit regarding who?
Well, we'll talk about it later.
Just hit it in a private chat. I'm just curious because I missed the first part.
So it's not really their fault. I'm actually going to try to get them involved again. But listen, the big event this summer, July 24th to the 26th, the Mountain Readiness West and the CFC event. We'll be doing a live show from there. Hopefully, all members of this cast will be there. I'm looking at somebody. And then it'll be a great time. Come on out and spend some time with us. We've got plenty of space. It'll make a great vacation. And we're going to be doing training courses all the way around it. Kay from Combat Studies just committed to doing some courses around there. I think I just convinced Lone Star Medics to come on up. War Lizard Tactical will be here. We're going to have all kinds of people. Tactical Riflemen. There are going to be a lot of fun courses. So come on up.
Joe, this is kind of marketing 101, but this is stuff you already know. Each one of these people have their own followings and their own mailing lists and things like that. So if we could just get tap into like 2 people per kind of person coming out, that'd make a huge dent in filling out that crowd. I'd like to see more than that, but I'm just saying, even something modest like that would make for a great event.
Yeah, and Dev Omega, don't start legal discussions with according to Robert Bond. If physical crime was committed, the minute somebody says it's time for you to leave and you don't leave, crime has
them trespassing.
That's trespassing.
Yeah. And those people have been charged with, of all ironies, 18 U.S. Code 241, also known as the KKK Act, deprivation of rights. So,
yeah, you should look up some of the people who've been charged with that who committed no physical acts, like praying in the wrong place.
Well, it's one of those kind of things. I like it when we do this because I think it's a bad law. KKK Act, I think is a bad law, but it's one of those kind of things. It exists, and we should use it as vigorously as it's ever. And until we get to basically reorder society, you keep those things in the books and you use it against them. Use their own tools against them is the most sweet revenge.
So the last thing I want to say about that before we move on is just that, look, if the topic is how can a lawyer use social media in order to further their case, then I'm all willing to listen to what Robert Barnes has to say. If the topic is literally anything else except for maybe sports betting, I do not give 2 shits what Robert Barnes has to say.
I don't know. I only care what he says when he agrees with me.
No, I am too immune, not entirely immune, but in his case, I am too immune to Gelman amnesia to ever go back to trusting that one on anything except for the things he's actually an expert in.
Now, that being said, the slow walking of prosecution of these people and the fact that there aren't 37 people under arrest, every single person who showed up.
Yeah.
That will encourage more attacks, and you're right on that, Dove Omega. But yeah, Barnes's legal opinion has about as much worth as my cat's legal opinion.
Honestly, if we want to jump into that, I think that is a tell on what's happening behind the scenes. I think that only the people who could have been charged with conspiracy because they were on film plotting a conspiracy to do so have been charged so far. And I think that probably tells you who's holding that up. It's probably a federal judge saying, oh, if they didn't commit the conspiracy thing, which I think is where they're going to start shopping.
Yeah. Everyone is asking me who I'm talking about when I say Pastor Gabe. Then you obviously didn't see the big dispute on Twitter that I poked him with, and Washer apparently got him to really boot him. But there's a pastor who said that Christians who saying they should have resisted are wrong, and Christians should just sit there and take it and let them do whatever they want. And that's absolutely false. It's not accurate. And that's why we're going to start talking about on resistance to evil by force. I want to point out that Ilyin wrote that book during the Russian Revolution when the Bolsheviks were taking over, and Count Leo Tolstoy wrote a book urging Christians to not resist because Jesus wouldn't have wanted them to. And Ilyin said, I'm going to need you to hold up, dog, because that's not what he said at all, and gives the exact biblical basis for fighting evil, and not just in a theological sense, but in a physical, violent sense. So,
I just saw something pretty bizarre. Speaking of physical violence, Iranian state TV is airing Sneeko, presenting him as an American analyst.
Yeah.
The Iranians are like, just, I don't know, they've kind of lost the plot. I think they've been sent over the edge by this.
I think that's 2 groups of people who have completely lost the plot in that story. Because the entire Groyper cast is on the side of the Iranian regime. That's why they're airing them.
Well, I mean, that's how you know they were never on our side to begin with.
correct, and also that they're bought and paid for. That's like, isn't it weird how literally every single person who is on the Iranian side of the things now had accusations for years leading up to that they were getting paid off by Qatari money. That's so weird, guys. It's really weird.
Random PNW Guy 84 for $2 over on Rumble says, what is the legal and realistic way of dealing with these activist judges, or does the far left have full legal cover to do what they want to do? Okay, well, so I hate to do this, but we're going to cover that in segment 2. But bottom line is we need to do what they do, which is judge shopping, to find better judges or to move the what do you call it, Joe? The jurisdiction of the court to find a better location for the conviction
venue, a different
venue. Thank you. Yeah.
Hey,
but not for a conviction, but for the charge we want. All right, let me move on. All right, so here's the Brush Beater ad for today. We're talking tonight. We're reliving President Trump's commanding victory at Davos, walking into the heart of the globalist cathedral, calling out the WF elite, and delivering America first with zero apologies. Tariffs, peace through strength, a big middle finger to the old order. The message rang loud and clear across every channel. But while the elites were reeling, the real world keeps moving. Networks can fail, signals can get jammed at uncertain times. You need comms that actually you can control. That's why we're proud to feature our sponsor, Brush Beater Store, led by NC Scout, the place that keeps patriots talking when the rest of the world tries to shut them up. Right now, the star is the brand new Radtel RT950 Pro, a 10-watt VHF, UHF, beast loaded with dual band, dual watch, built-in GPS, APRS position sharing, Bluetooth programming, Type-C charging, big daylight, readable color screen. Joe probably has one right there off to the side. When the Davos crowd tries to control the narrative or when domestic tensions spike, the cell service mysteriously drops. The radio keeps your group connected, coordinated, and off the grid if needed. Let's see. Rounding out your setup with Brush Beater's trusted combo gear, the Baofeng AR-152, the Abri DMF-8, high-gain handheld antennas, programming cables, comm pouches, and covert earpieces for staying low profile and effective.
Here without it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. The Radtel RT950 Pro, mind you.
Pro.
Not for amateurs. It's the Pro model. Right. The RTO course teaches you secure voice procedures, field expedient antennas, frequency management, and signal discipline. So your net stays alive when everything else goes dark. The advanced RTO course dives into signals intelligence basics, electronic warfare awareness, and operating in contested environments. Critical when the globalist and domestic actors both want to listen in. Get the Radtel RT950 Pro and full comms lineup at brushbeater.store/collections/handheld-radio-HT or signed up for training at collections-training. Use code CFC10 for 5% off all radios, accessories, or courses. Orders over 100 ship for free. Big thanks to Matt and Brush Beater Store for keeping the Council of Future Conflict loud and clear while Trump runs circles around the leftist at Davos. Head to brushbeater.store, enter code CFC10, and make sure your voice carries when the next victory lap turns into a fight.
Man, great. By the way, we learned 2 additional things about this radio. First of all, this one isn't something we learned, but we knew it also is a spectrum analyzer. It'll give you the spectrum on here. But 2, the things that we learned, 1, you can very easily jam a mesh network. That might be useful. But it does. And it also does frequency hopping spread spectrum if you use the right software.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, it does all kinds of things. It does 900 megahertz. It does a lot more than what's on the box. So don't go to their website to learn about the radio. Watch Matt's videos. He's putting out videos on this radio. So very cool.
All right. Main topic for today is Trump doing work. So I don't know if you guys saw it, but Trump was in Davos, and this is the entrance he did when the everybody stands up to applaud. And this is the leftist cathedral, the World Economic Forum. Not of what you'd call a hospitable crowd back in 2020 when he showed up, and pretty much it was crickets. But now it's a different story. Everybody's kind of like, yeah, well, he was right. This was definitely a victory lap speech for him. There was all kind of wailing and gnashing of the teeth for the last month over Greenland, right? Like, oh my God, he's going to invade. Oh my God, he won't rule out military force. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff, right? Oh, Venezuela, holy shit, he's going to do the same thing to Greenland, yada, yada, yada. And so it's...
The worst part of it is it reveals that none of them, from the actual heads of state to their strategists, have read his book.
Well, so here's the thing. If you look at the response by various leaders in Europe, you'll see that some of them were clued in, right? Like, so for instance, Mark Rutte, who is a flaming homosexual, leader of NATO, he was kind of like, he's the one famously a couple of weeks back says, daddy's back, or daddy's here or whatever about Trump and NATO, right? He sees the right on the wall. He's a veteran politician and understands like who the big dog is, who the alpha is, right? And a guy like him doesn't survive by going head to head against the alpha. A guy like him survives by finding out which side his bread is buttered on and then basically aligning him with that power structure. In the case of NATO, that is Trump. Trump has been absolutely correct in his interactions going back to his first administration with NATO. Basically saying that they are not paying their fair share. The only way he could actually be more right is if he said, we're going to, fold up shop on NATO, or we're going to pull the U.S. out of NATO. But he hasn't done that. I think he sees it as an opportunity to have leverage over the Europeans, which I respect. I respect the opinion. I just don't agree with it. That being said, going into it, the way Trump has, I think it's very clear this entire kind of effort he did was a opportunity for him to basically take a victory lap on all the big shit that came out of Davos for the last 10 years. So first thing up, so in no particular order, I just found these clips, and I like all of them. I've listened to all of them. And I just want to kind of give the crew here and the chat opportunities to kind of listen to them and pick them apart. Because unlike Barnes, I think Trump actually knows a little bit about what he's doing here.
Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam. Perhaps the greatest hoax in history. The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place, destroy your land. Every time that goes around, you lose $1,000. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. Here in Europe, we've seen the fate that the radical left tried to impose on America. They tried very hard. Germany now generates 22% less electricity than it did in 2017. And it's not the current chancellor's fault. He's solving the problem. He's going to do a great job. But what they did before he got there, I guess that's why he got there. And electricity prices are 64% higher. The United Kingdom produces just 1/3 of the total energy from all sources that it did in 1999. Think of that, 1/3. And they're sitting on top of the North Sea, one of the greatest reserves anywhere in the world, but they don't use it. And that's one reason why their energy has reached catastrophically low levels with equally high prices. High prices, very low levels. Think of that, 1/3. And you're sitting on top of the North Sea, and they like to say, well, that's depleted. It's not depleted. It's got 500 years. They haven't even found the oil. The North Sea is incredible. They don't let anybody drill. Environmentally, they don't let them drill. They make it impossible for the oil companies to go. They take 92% of the revenues. So the oil companies say, we can't do it. They came to see me. Is there anything you can do? I want Europe to do great. I want UK to do great. They're sitting on one of the greatest energy sources in the world, and they don't use it. In fact, their electricity prices have soared 139%. There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers. One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses, and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. They're smart. China's very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them, but they don't use them themselves. They put up a couple of big wind farms, but they don't use them. They just put them up to show people what they could look like. They don't spin. They don't do anything. They use the thing called coal mostly. But China goes with the coal. They go with oil and gas. They're starting to look at nuclear a little bit, and they're doing just fine.
So what's funny is they'll ban drilling in the North Sea for oil, but they will drill into the seabed to put in footings for windmills. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, the irony. So what you'll see. This is a kind of a theme throughout these. He'll say nice things by like, oh, I like Europe, I like England, I like France. He has very positive things to say, and he'll by name people on the positive stuff. But then when it comes to, oh, these sell it to a bunch of dummies. Well, he's talking about Europe too. He just isn't coming right out and saying like you're the dummy, right? Now he does that about some very specific people.
Much the way you talk to everybody on here.
I mean, I talk to everybody in the world like that, right?
I know,
it's kind of like, listen, if the shoe fits, wear it. If not, then don't take any offense. All right.
It was a net positive. It was a net positive.
All right. Let's move on to the next one here.
Windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers. One thing is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses, and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills.
I think, we just played. This was at the end of that other segment, so these two overlap.
Looking at it, they're smart. China's very smart. They make them. They sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them.
Yeah, I specifically wanted to play the windmill stuff. I didn't realize the last one had it, the windmill part at the end, because it was longer than I expected.
I just caught this on my off screen while I was listening to that.
What's it say?
Just in, President Trump says U.S. is going heavy into nuclear energy.
Oh yeah, they're going to basically jumpstart the SMR industry here in America. Which is something that nobody else is doing in the world on any kind of real scale. So I think that'll. And here's the interesting thing about SMRs, right? They'll be able to export those to Europe. Like you make them in a factory, put them in a container, ship it to Europe, and then they plug it into their grid, right? Yep. I think that's going to be a big product for us here in the next 10 years.
Yeah, and you're talking like one of them is like it's. From what I have seen, one of them is roughly the power consumption needs of 10,000 U.S. homes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
The biggest irony of the windmill and solar things is like Michigan is a classic example. They claim they're saving the environment, but in order to save the environment, they have to rip down the environment to put in solar farms and to put in these wind farms. One of my greatest joys of living in northern Michigan was driving around and seeing all the beautiful ridge lines covered with trees and all that. It's not like that anymore. Every ridge line is cut down and planted with windmills, and it's really annoying.
It's disgusting. It is an eyesore. It's also, isn't it weird how this almost always is in the rural places, right? Like we're not seeing anybody in the really nice areas offer up their beautiful ridge lines where their people have paid millions of dollars to be able to see them for these windmill projects. It's always in rural areas that the cityites don't care about. So why not talk their city governments into ruining the surroundings? It's
it's all NIMBY, right? Like, not in my backyard. Yeah, we need them,
always.
but not in my backyard.
Yeah, like California. Where do they slap them? Palm Springs.
Out in the desert, yeah. All right. Let us continue for the next one. This next one is about how he can't even recognize the way Europe's changed.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. Or they're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good. But it's not heading in the right direction. In recent, certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore.
Yeah, I mean, so he's not wrong there. Europe is not even Europe anymore in some places. Somebody was saying that when he insulted the French once it got translated into talking about how they would be speaking German if it wasn't for the U.S. The French weren't immediately insulted, but once it was translated into Arabic, they got very upset.
Well, that's funny. That's funny, but it is true. It is 100% true. And calling out the truth is not, you can be insulted if you want to, but that's a matter of you knowing that it's right as opposed to it being wrong, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
How
right.
How dare you point out that we were completely wrong?
Yeah.
I think, but I've always said, will they be there if we ever needed them? And that's really the ultimate test. And I'm not.
Oh, sorry, this one needs a little more setup than that.
So this is not his speech. This is a interview that he did for Fox Business while he was there. But this is basically about the usefulness of NATO and the fact that NATO won't be there.
And what I think everybody should just do themselves a favor. Picture this guy with a dip in and a cigarette and a rip it, and he suddenly becomes every GWAT vet I've ever met in my life.
I think, but I've always said, will they be there if we ever needed them? And that's really the ultimate test. And I'm not sure of that. I know that we would have been there, or we would be there, but will they be there? And let's hope that that never happens. We've never needed them. We have never really asked anything of them. They'll say they sent some troops to Afghanistan or this or that. And they did. They stayed a little off the front lines. But we've been very good to Europe and to many other countries. And, now under my administration, that began because we had a very successful first term. That began then, but it has to be a two-way street, I think. But I've always said,
gee, where have I heard that before?
I mean, what's the point? This kind of goes back to that whole thing that Stan used to say. He used to talk about how Europe has a call option on the U.S. Defense Forces, right? The U.S. military. But ultimately, even if we have a call option on the Europe, if they can't get here, if they can't do anything when they do get here, what the fuck good is it? And let's be honest, will they even come?
I mean,
they're always
Germany had to rent a plane for what's literally a puddle jump from Germany, right? That's sad.
This got explained to me really well, I guess. So we had a group of guys that were all just sitting around, waiting for. We were there at 03 for an event that was going to happen at 06 or whatever. And we were talking about this kind of thing, and somebody was like, "What even is the point of all this?" And a corporal explained, okay, so think about it this way: legitimately, we're supposed to go to nuclear war with Russia if they decide that one of their neighbors is acting up and needs to get slapped around, right? That's ultimately what we're all here saying, right? Because NATO doesn't really have the arms to stand up. It's basically like Russia is right now, right? Like anything that happens, if it's serious, if it's an actual serious threat, your only real option is either to nuke it or ignore it. And that's where we're at now. So they want us to go to full thermonuclear, mutually assured destruction war over Latvia.
Right. Right. And they are hot to trot, right? They are very gung ho when it comes to our defense dollars.
Yeah, if it wasn't for our defense dollars, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia would not be nearly as mouthy as they are today.
Well, and ultimately that's the problem, right? It's the kind of when you basically do something for somebody all the time, they become pathologically unable to do it for themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of providing a disproportionate amount of strength to countries that don't generally command that kind of power, they talk as if they do have that kind of power.
Yeah, so they'd be way less belligerent in their dealings with Russia.
Yeah, they'd be all right.
They're a single battalion of infantry.
Exactly. Right. They'd be much more willing to make a deal. They'd be much more, okay, well, like, hey, we can work something out here. Now, don't bully us or we'll go and complain to America. But otherwise, because if they had to ask for help versus, it's a guarantee, it's a fucking done deal. No. This is the reason why NATO should have gone away. They should have created regional alliances that suited the needs of the countries that, in their broader neighborhood. I also believe if we had brought Russia in as a full member of whatever, kind of successor security arrangement happened in Europe in the mid 90s, Russia wouldn't look like it does today because it would want to be part of that. And that would have brought them on our side against China, which is ultimately the conflict that would happen.
I'm going to invoke the name of the prophet here, because that's exactly what happened in the book, The Bear and the Dragon, right? We let Russia into NATO and fought China. But on the other hand, Putin, some say he was joking at the time, but Putin did mention to Clinton, what do you suppose would happen if you let me join NATO? That was an opportunity, and we shut the door on it.
And here's the thing. If Putin didn't have to be in such a kind of dog-eat-dog world, which is what he's basically existed in ever since the fall of NATO and the fall of the Warsaw Union, maybe he just says, hey, I'm now rich enough, I can hand off to somebody and, hey, this new liberal version of Russia is not my, I'm going to enjoy my grandkids or whatever. I mean, he may have made different choices, right? But now he feels like, let's be honest, Putin is many things, but he is also a Russian patriot, right? He believes in the whole idea of Russia and that is an imperial, that is a strong Russia. If they had a strong Russia, maybe they wouldn't have acted this way. Speaking of strong,
wow.
Mr. Blaine Pardo.
Hello.
What a jacket. Look at that.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah,
Captain America.
Captain America today.
Well, I think Trump in Davos was Captain America.
You guys will love this, though. Joe will like this probably the best.
Oh, yeah.
All I wanted was breakfast.
I just wanted breakfast. I don't want to be your friend, Ray, or whatever the guy's name is. I just want some breakfast. Rick, I don't want to be your friend, Rick. I just want some breakfast. It's a great movie. And really, if you read the book that I recommended earlier, the On Resistance to Evil, you will think of Vladimir Putin as you read it, right? The Russian patriot standing up for the church and for the country, as opposed to for the Soviets and the Bolsheviks. And anyway, as much as everyone, I just want to finish the discussion we were on, sorry. As much as everyone wants to hate on Vladimir Putin, I can imagine 4 or 5 other men who could be in his spot who are a million times worse and more unpredictable than Vladimir Putin. So,
before we move on from that, I just have to say, as much as I have grown to just utterly hate remakes as a concept, Falling Down is one that could use a modern retelling. That would be
It could, and you wouldn't really have to change much. Put it in Minneapolis and have the bad guys be Somalis. It's really not that hard.
I recommend you just read Tenure.
Oh, yeah, fair.
You know what's funny? The first time that Mrs. Tactical Wisdom watched Falling Down, she thought he was the bad guy. The second time when she actually listened, she realized he was the good guy the whole time.
He's the good guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My grandson was the same way. He was like, this guy's really messed up. And then by the end of the movie, he's like, God, I was kind of pulling for him.
I love it. Even at the end, he's like, I'm the bad guy?
Blaine, welcome. How are things going in your neck of the woods?
Just bracing for this thing.
Oh, that's right. The Snowmageddon deal that you guys are getting ready to get.
Yeah. You know, my wife wasn't excited when I told her she was going to get 16 inches. I can't figure it out.
Oh, boy. Anyway, we're just going to leave that there. 100% read Tenure. Jay Clark says, yeah, absolutely. If you haven't, which one are we? 3 is coming out soon, correct?
3's out.
Three's
the audio
out.
book for 3 comes out in a few days.
That's what I'm because I do it all by audio books, for the most part. So that's what I've kind of got my
book 4
by the way,
done. Book 4.
Yeah, that's right. You were telling us last time that book 4 is done. You got to go through the final bits, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Blaine. Answer his question.
What?
I thought you asked him a question.
No. I said that's right. Book 4 is already done.
All right, so let me say this. In the remake, though, for to Derna's point in there, he would go into a KFC and order chicken, and they would tell him we're out of chicken. That would be the ultimate in the remake.
No, he's got to go to a Starbucks. It's got to be a Starbucks because something about going after a barista has lots of appeal.
I just have to say, Megastorm has been brought up, so I've had a meme ready for this.
Yeah.
I bet that'd work. Hey, Joe, by the way, you invoked the name of the prophet earlier. I finished Red Rabbit, which I thought was a great ending, by the way. That was one of those kind of books that, like, if you like Jack Ryan, if you read all the other ones, Red Rabbit hits a lot of really nice spots because he wrote that much later in his career, but it takes place between not Without Remorse, but Patriot Games and Hunt for October. And now I just restarted Red October. And so there's a lot of little things in Red October that they actually reference. So they were very, very nice kind of kind of just because he was very vague in Hunt for Red October, but now that he did Red Rabbit, it's obvious what he was talking about. So it was cool.
Now that you can look back on his full career, you realize that in Red Storm Rising, the first book, the analyst guy who ends up on the aircraft carrier is Jack Ryan, right?
Yeah, basically, right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because he was a former Marine, if I remember correctly, and. Okay, so Blaine, we were going through the Trump's victory lap at Davos at the WEF, and we were playing clips. So let's get on with the next one. The last one was about NATO. The next one is about NATO. This is actually from his speech versus the interview. So let's play this.
There's no clip. It's the whole speech. It's literally the whole hour and a half.
Oh, that's not the one. I must have given you the wrong link for that one because he had a section of the speech on NATO. Yeah, that's. Let me. I'll see if I can find it. We'll play it towards the end. But go ahead and play the next one. The next one's about the Great Reset.
Not for corporations, and America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that. That's why I have signed an executive order banning large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. It's just not fair to the public.
Excuse me, I need to go change my shorts.
I know, right? This I thought was a pretty big deal that he kind of. And by the way, this is something that any of the presidents for the last 20 years could have done. But they didn't.
I disagree. I would like to know the constitutional basis of this.
Well, I think there doesn't even need to be a constitutional basis in that they've been doing it by getting 0% interest loans from the government to do it. And so I think they're literally just going to stop giving them the 0% interest loans in order to do it.
Okay, that's
I
not
think
the
it's
same thing.
yeah.
That's not banning them from buying the homes.
No, but basically what it is it's using an executive order to stop the mechanism that they're using so that they wouldn't be able to do it the way they've been doing it. So yeah, you're right, Joe. He probably is not writing something that literally makes it illegal for them to do that, but he basically turns off the free money spigot.
Able to buy a house. And I'm calling on Congress to pass that ban into permanent law, and I think they will. One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt. The profit margin for credit card companies now exceeds 50%, one of the biggest. And they charge Americans interest rates of 28%, 30%, 31%, 32%. Whatever happened to usury? So to help our citizens recover from the Biden disaster, all caused by this horrible precedent, I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year. And this will help millions of Americans save for what home.
So I mean, some good stuff there. Some of it's executive order stuff. Some of it's stuff that he will put in a bill to Congress. I think it's be very interesting if Congress actually jumps on it. I have very little faith in Congress after we saw the Republicans pass the vehicle kill switch law.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't think that's on all vehicles. I think it's on electric vehicles, isn't it? Or is it on all?
No, they're trying to make it on everything.
I think it's going to get killed in the Senate.
I don't think there's any chance it survives the Senate, but you need to fight for it. Time to chimp out about it.
Yeah. Blaine, any thoughts on that quote?
Yeah, I think it's great if he can make it stick. I guarantee you there's a line of federal judges already lined up with their hands in the air saying, I'll put a stop to this immediately without even reading it, just because it's Donald Trump. And this has been the routine we've been going through for the last year so far. Is everything Donald Trump does, they will file a lawsuit against.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I have a quote about that lets me know that at least somebody's head's in the game about that. Steve Miller basically gave a quote yesterday on X that lets you know that they're thinking. Here it is. So everyone seriously understands that the justice system is rigged. Far-left prosecutors, magistrates, judges, and juries unhesitatingly shield their violent activists and gleefully imprison their political opponents. Unrigging the system is necessary for the survival of the republic.
Yep.
Generally, when Steve Miller says something, it means that there's already discussions happening behind the scenes, and it's only a question of how far are we going to go.
Well, the irony is I find that Steve Miller thinks a lot like us, these things that the government would never, ever consider doing. But yet now that he's there, it actually point in fact means that the government is thinking about, working on this. Now, the problem is thinking about working on it versus actually doing something oftentimes is out of Stephen Miller's hands. So
hold on. We have to stop. Squishy Hunter, you're starting Mongol Moon now? Get out. Yes. Where's the band?
Get out. Yeah.
Where's the band?
Well, hold on. I have to defend Squish because you know where Squish is right now, right?
Yes.
I just have to say, Squish, I am thoroughly impressed that you made the decision to go spend your money to go petition your grievances with the government. It's a good move.
Some might say it's because he recently attended a tactical wisdom class. I don't know. I'm going to take credit for the good.
All right. Let's go on. So this is the NATO thing, and it kind of echoes what he said in that other clip.
But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. If we gave them the call, gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know we'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. So with all of the money we expend, with all of the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't know that they'd be there for us.
I mean, no lies detected.
Facts.
Well, and it's not just the willingness, right? They may be willing. They just don't have the capabilities to. I mean, Joe, you were right. They had to get a fucking charter plane for 15 of their dudes to go to
Where's the British Army of the Rio Grande, right? Where's the French battalion outside of Brownsville, right? If NATO was really a two-way street, they would be helping us secure our borders from an invasion from Mexico.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
They don't care. Here's the deal. NATO, we put in more money than all the other countries combined for NATO. They're very arrogant about it. They talk down to us constantly. They get offended easily, especially the French. And, honestly, I'm done supporting governments that are arresting people for memes. These are not good countries anymore. And that includes England, that includes France, and it includes most of the European countries. Poland had the only brilliant sense to go, we're not going to import all this crap. They're all arresting people for just voicing their opinions. They don't even stand for free speech anymore. We don't share the same set of values that we do with other countries. And if we don't share their values, I don't know if we should be in a big rush to defend them.
I was arguing with somebody on my alt account, about this, and they were retorting against something I had said about, and they said Trump doesn't even stand for Western values. I mean, you mean like freedom of speech,
Right.
individual rights, the inherent right of self-defense, which your countries won't allow you to have as you are completely unarmed. It's like, listen, don't even get me started about what Western values are, because Britain arrests more people for speech violations than Russia and China combined. Now, let's be honest, China probably really does, but we don't get any of the numbers on China. But the official numbers, they're leading the pack. So, I don't know what this, Western values that they stand for actually mean. Like letting people just flow right into your country. Come right in, rape our women. That's fine. No problem. Groom our kids.
Only in Europe would they think that the solution to more democracy is to add a layer of government that no one elects and put them in charge of their own governments. And that's what the EU is. They aren't elected. They're just simply put there, and they boss these governments around. And nobody's got the testicles to stand up to them.
Hey, Blaine, I'm firmly convinced that the EU is nothing but a hospice care for European society. As it dies, go calmly into the night, and then that way the new people can come and occupy Europe, and it becomes a starter colony for whoever wants.
It becomes an actual museum instead of a figure.
Exactly right.
KFA Europe.
You can say whatever you want here, but real quick, I just got to say, I think hospice care might be a little too generous. I think it's more like this.
I'm not. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on to the next clip here.
We're building a golden
Canada.
dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. They should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
And Mark, of course, was talking about the New World Order and his new deal with China.
Yeah. I like Trump because he just says what a lot of people are thinking. And there's no sugarcoating it. It's you wouldn't exist if we were here. Don't do this. I still say no Golden Dome for Canada. Let the missiles fall where they will.
Well,
Blaine, the problem is the Chinese are going to be setting up tells in Canada to be able to hit us much closer.
Yes,
They won't, because we'll invade Canada and put it.
I think that's so I've seen a map that I think is probably pretty prophetic, but let me give you a different map here before we move on. I want to remind everybody, this is Canada. This is not nothing. This is unclaimed wilderness. This Greenland. Is Canada.
The gray is basically Greenland, and all the yellow is Canada. That's
okay. Right. So the map that I've seen, and I think it's probably accurate, goes something like this: carved off, declares independence, eventually comes to the U.S., except for a little bubble here in BC, which eventually gets conquered by the rest of it because it can't survive on its own. And then this becomes Canada without this, because these guys are probably going to split off and do their own thing.
I mean, you hate.
I think that's the way they're going on their own, without us doing anything.
Oh yeah, I tell you, what's crazy is how popular that Alberta secession. What do you call it?
Movement.
No, what do you call it when they sign? The people sign the thing. It's I'm forgetting the
petition.
Word. Petition. Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
It's like that boss in Metal Gear, right? He's very old, so you just input it and wait a couple hours and he dies.
Guys, if you could have seen the Canadian captain that I had to deal with at NATO in Turkey.
I remember you telling me about this.
Oh my. All right, moving on. Gavin Newsom also got some love from Trump at the. No, you got it wrong. Go back. Gavin Newsom, it's the last one before the bonus. Howard Luck makes the first bonus.
Okay, let me grab that.
Yep. So this is Trump on Gavin Newsom.
The people in California, we want to have no crime. I know Gavin was here. I used to get along so great with Gavin when I was president. Gavin's a good guy. And we're going to, if he needed it, I would do it in a heartbeat. I'd love to see. We did help them a lot in Los Angeles, a lot with the early in my term when they had some problems. But we would love to do it. I would say this, if I were a Democrat governor or whatever, I would call up Trump. I say, come on in, make us look good. Because we're cutting crime down to nothing.
Wait, he still came even though the State Department told him he wasn't going to be speaking?
Yeah, well, he did an interview, I guess, at the U.S. House, like with the media, but that's all. He wasn't allowed to speak.
And he's so desperate to get on the world stage.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Blaine.
He's so desperate to get on the world stage. He looks like a moron.
How's that podcast going, Gavin?
So we're only going to do bad things, and we're bringing them back to their countries. But where we've done it has been amazing, and we have a capacity to do it at much greater levels. We're cutting illegal aliens off welfare and other government benefits, and I have directed that starting immediately, there will be no more payments to sanctuary cities because they are really just sanctuaries for criminals. They're really protecting criminals, and those are the ones we have to get out of the country: murderers, drug dealers, the mentally insane. They emptied their mental
I love this focus on him.
And despite that, we have the lowest crime numbers that we've ever had in the history of the country. Just came out. But equally importantly, we're cracking down on more than $19 billion in fraud.
So, yeah, I'm here for any Gavin Newsom. Here's the thing. I think Gavin Newsom becomes a non-entity later in the year when they start uncovering the amount of fraud that's going on in California. Because, like, I saw a meme that was like, it was the old iceberg meme, and it had Minneapolis or Minnesota at the top and California underneath. And so, I also saw what it says Somali fraud, and then the underwater part was Indian fraud.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, it's a matter of the size of the population and et cetera, and the size of the government.
Yeah.
And anybody who thinks that these red states are somehow pristine and run well and there's no fraud in them, I want to be very clear. The fraud is everywhere.
Yep.
But we don't have to raise taxes in this country. We just have to stop the funnel of fraud. If we did that, we'd have more than enough money to do what we want to do.
Facts.
All right, so I've got some bonus clips. These aren't Trump, but these are some pretty good clips of other people that are illustrative of where we are in the world today. So this first one is Lutnick. He's the Treasury Commerce Secretary, and I'm here. Sometimes, man, he just absolutely scratches me right where I need it. It's like, oh yeah, right there behind the ear. You got it, Howard. Thank you. Let's listen to this.
We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export.
Oh, give me a second.
Oh, he's right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
We are
got him ready.
Offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
Needless to say,
not a bad point.
With some Europeans, this went over like a lead balloon. Joe, this sounds very much like what we've been talking about as the kind of the national security focus of the economic policy of the federal government for the last, I don't know, since the beginning of the CFC.
Sitting at the WEF and using the word sovereignty makes everyone cringe, because the WEF doesn't believe in sovereignty at all.
Yeah.
They believe in some sort of a egalitarian affiliation of everyone under one world power, as opposed to, hey, different people in different parts of the world have different priorities, and maybe they should represent their own priorities.
Well, their whole focus is we want the United States to be a part of this to fund it. And us bowing out of the WHO, the World Health Organization, us sticking, this guy basically mooning the WEF on stage. They hate that because it's like, well, wait, you pay for a lot of our stuff. And it's like, we're not funding this bullshit anymore. It's over.
Yep.
Yep. That's exactly.
And when he says true allies, I thought that really hit the mark. And that was definitely a shot at countries like Canada, who they're the worst. They're like that girl that runs around and tells everybody she's you're her boyfriend, and you're like, I don't know you. You're a crazy fucking stalker.
Well, it's even worse than that. It's like she commits to you to be engaged to you or whatever, and then a week later she's fucking your friend, or even worse, your worst enemy, right?
Yeah, Canada,
which is exactly what he did with China.
A lot of my Canadian friends and stuff are like, oh, you guys are stomping all over our relationship. And I'm like, you guys have been taking advantage of us for a long time.
Hey, have you met Trudeau?
Yeah. And all we're doing is saying we're not going to put up with that crap anymore. And the minute we did that, your true colors came out. And they were pink.
Not on top. If this dude on the screen is not at the top of your personal JPL, I can't help you.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is the double bonus here. Here's Alex Soros' son, George, talking at the WF. Now, this guy, tell me if this guy, hey, first of all, you want to see some nepotism? This is it.
First of all, it's the most punchable man on the planet. I mean, this dude looks like he's begging to be punched in the face.
Yeah. I wish he was articulate and could articulate this globalist scheme, but he can't. And as you'll see right here.
To actually create a narrative that inspires people to vote and to believe.
Wait, hold on. I thought this was supposed to be Alex Soros, not RFK.
No,
after a shift in the glory hole, the Swiss glory hole down the street, it gives him kind of a raspy
voice. Is a little rough. His voice is a little rough.
Yeah. In democracy and democratic institutions, on the institutional part, I think that we can talk about institutions as these abstract things, but institutions are also about. And
I want to give you something. When you get into the executive protection world and you get a little high up, you learn a few things about business, fashion, and power politics, right? No one takes a man seriously who wears light brown socks. I know that seems like a dumb thing, but it is vitally important in the world of power politics, of how you dress. And that's what he's wearing. I'm just throwing that out there.
We just heard this point about untrustworthy people, and we talked about things in the United States like checks and balances, which aren't written anywhere but are customs. And one man, Donald Trump, literally came in and just took that all away.
Balances are written somewhere.
And all he took away was U.S. aid, which was funding a lot of your bullshit stuff.
This is
you freaking third generation Nazi bastard.
He has exactly his father's philosophy that the one thing standing in the way of a world government is what? The Constitution of the United States of America.
Yeah. Well, the irony of what you just said, Blaine, there with the USAID is that while he may personally be rich, right, all the money from the Tides Foundation and all the other kind of pass-through organizations that the Soros family uses were huge beneficiaries of USAID money. And now that that's gone, everybody in Europe starting to become a little more, when the WEF starts to be way more interested in what Trump has to say, because they know that basically sucking him off is the only way they're going to get the funding streams potentially open back up. I hate to say it, people in Europe, your money fucking days are over. You need to find your own bag.
But when I see this, when I look at this, more globally regarding.
By the way, drink every time he says and you will be done.
He's
by
literally a horrible public speaker.
That's what I'm saying. He's completely inarticulate. Go ahead.
I took a course it was called Executive Presence at Ernst & Young, and they trained you to not say that because they would give you bags of popcorn, and every time you say somebody would throw popcorn at you.
Oh.
And within an hour, you can retrain your brain to never say that.
So you know how you can do it much faster is the way we used to do it in Marine Corps instructor school, which is they just have whatever is already on their desk. And if you use a filler word, any filler word, or if you repeat, shit comes flying at your face as fast as they can hurl it. Not
I suggest in the case of Alex Soros, we throw bullets.
Yeah.
I also say to myself, when was this great time that everybody got along so well and, things were going so great? I mean, I think, I think that we really have to be careful here in this nostalgia for a time past, because a lot of the reactions we're seeing in society are actually reactions to positive things like equality for women, and greater diversity.
So I just wanted to show you the state of the leadership of the other side. That's the elite leadership cadre that we're up against. So
they're very worried right now because Trump has literally figured out it's the money that controls that guides these people, empowers these people, and everywhere he can, he is tightening it up.
Well, Blaine, you're absolutely right. Part 1 was USAID. Part 2 is going to be the scam money, which is finding its way. I think the scam money is ultimately going to be proven to be the money that's been flowing illegally into Act Blue, and basically been funding the
already
Democratic.
Proven that.
Yeah, I haven't seen the actual proof of that, but I think the theory is there. I'd love to see it because I just haven't seen the.
Yeah, there's a couple spreadsheets out there. Data Republican did a great thing comparing money that went into daycares and then donations by those daycares to Act Blue. It is crystal clear.
Yeah, well, the other thing. Speaking of Data Republican, by the way, she was in Davos. And somebody said, good thing she's fucking deaf because otherwise she would have ran screaming, having to listen to all the bullshit.
Sorry if my dog is barking. He is convinced there is a lion or a wolf outside, and he's probably not wrong. So,
well, what I like is Trump went there, and the only way to describe it is he dropped his fly and pissed all over them.
Well, it's funny.
And then zipped up, smiled, and said, I'm going to go form my own UN. Drop that.
Yeah, see you. Yeah. By the way, Scott Bessnett basically said the same thing here in this. And this is a triple bonus.
Yep. Here you go. Sorry.
Maybe cracking up with some of these things he's saying. I think he may be in over his hairdo, and being on the national stage is very different than being governor of California, with no signature achievements. But to say strange things like President Trump is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, what the hell does that mean? I could say Gavin Newsom is a Brontosaurus with a brain the size of a walnut. And if you brought the knee pads, maybe that was for his meeting with Alex Soros. I don't know. Maybe.
I find that remark way off the mark because Alex Soros would be the one in the knee pads.
That's true.
Alex Soros took so many cocks into the mouth he can't talk. That's why
he's got some problems today. Let's see. All right. Hey, triple bonus 2. I think we've almost reached an SNL moment a few years ago when you were not going to own anything or eat the insects. Here we go.
President Stubb, I'd like to ask you first. Do you see this sense of urgency for a plan B? Among your European partners, is there the need for that? And who should lead the charge? Because, it's a bit unfair. We're sitting here on the panel with Finland.
No, this is the Finnish president. Go back to, you missed the link for, that's quad bonus. Go to triple bonus 2.
Oh, I assume that it was just the same thing.
I think we almost reached the Saturday Night Live moment a few years ago when it was, you're not going to own anything, you're going to eat insects. It was just the inmates were running the asylum at that point.
You're not into the bugs?
Well, I can tell you, After a few days of Swiss German food, I may switch to bugs. I'm bringing
Brutal, Mr. Secretary.
I mean, he was just like literally like laying down oh, it's like holy shit! Like he's decided that they don't give two fucks there. They don't even have to be polite to the locals. You know.
Why should you be? Are they polite to us? You know,
No.
honestly, they treat Trump and his entourage like a pariah every time they come. You know what? I want him to go in. I want him to be more offensive.
Cannon Speaks is in the chat. Cannon, how you doing, brother? Hope all is well. Hope you're staying warm and be more.
So here's that last one.
Yeah, so this is the president of Finland and his opinion of NATO.
President Stubb, I'd like to ask you first. Do you see this sense of urgency for a plan B among your European partners? Is there the need for that? And who should lead the charge? Because, I mean, it's a bit unfair. We're sitting here on the panel with Finland and Poland. You know, you are really doing a lot when it comes to defense, especially Finland. You have this comprehensive approach to defense in your country. Are your partners, are they experiencing the urgency? Who needs to come up with the plan B and lead the charge?
Well, I mean, two answers. First is a direct answer to the question of this panel. Can Europe defend itself? My answer is unequivocally yes.
Without the Americans?
Without the Americans, I mean,
how?
Let's go.
You're relying on them for these key elements. How would you do it at scale and at duration and at intensity?
With an assumption that the United States would cut off completely any kind of work.
Yeah.
Well, if we look at the defense composure of Europe by and large, and a country like Finland, so how do we do it? We have conscription. 1 million have done it. We can mobilize 280,000 soldiers within weeks. We have 62 F-18s. Your next question is going to be, do they fly without Americans? No, they don't. But do we trust that they will continue to fly because it's in the interest of America to do so? Yes. We just bought 64 F-35s. We have the biggest artillery in Europe together with Poland. We have long-range missiles, land, sea, and air. We don't have these because we're worried about Stockholm, right? So, the bottom line is that if you ask me the question that can the Finnish military defend itself against a Russian attack, the whole defense posture of the way in which you do it, yes, we can. But then the second question, which you were alluding to, I think we also have to understand that you fight wars on the battlefield, but you win them at home. And that means that all of us need to focus more on comprehensive security. The civilian side of things. That's why we have civilian shelters for 4.4 million Finns. That's why we have a security of supply where we don't get into any kind of trouble with food shortages, energy shortages, or electricity grids, because we've got this. And this is the, I think, capability that a lot of European states need to do.
So I had the comment up. Basically, they're going off of an 80-year-old reputation when they fought the Soviets to a standstill. And need I remind you, there are only 4 million Finns, so not what you'd call a huge population to continue to draw upon. Nobody fights like a conscript. That's exactly right. Now, let's be honest. If your country is under an existential threat, I mean, the Ukrainians have proven that, they'll be more than happy to put the last old man in the line, and even the old men tend to fight when their backs are against the wall. But that shouldn't be your going in position, which is what it sounds like it is. And let's be honest, most European countries aren't ready to fight at all.
I'll be honest, though, there's something to be said for pride and wanting to hold up to that national pride. The Finns today aren't in very much of a different position than they were when they fought the Soviets in the Winter War, Redux, the second one, right? The tactics they use would still work. Highly mobile guys on skis versus a heavily mechanized military is a winning proposition every time. But that being said, her asking the Finns this question first was probably showed her ignorance due to her young age of history, right? I would have asked anyone but Finland, because of course Finland's going to say, yes, we can fight the Russians, because they have that historical precedent of fighting the Russians. Should have asked someone who didn't, would have been a better way to ask that question. And he's right. The civilian considerations are more important. So,
yeah, I mean, so there's a lot to unpack there. This is a whole separate topic almost. Like how does NATO work without the U.S.? Well, it doesn't. But ultimately, Europe has got to figure out. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Before you even consider joining a NATO, you need to be able to, can we defend our country? Okay, can we defend our country and our ally next door? Like they're our best buddy, right? So how would we work together, right? And then what about the greater region? Like, can Scandinavia defend itself? And how would Scandinavia work, right? So it's like that kind of that growing onion of layers, right?
So they're really missing out on naming the Scandinavian Defense League the Viking Defense League, and letting the Danes be in on it too, just because that's cool.
That's true. That is true. Hey, Watcher, before we move, I've got one meme. I thought this was a good, funny one based on what we've been watching here for the last little bit. If you could play the link that I put in the private chat.
Let me say one last thing on Finland. When he mentioned the number, he could have 280,000 soldiers mobilized in 6 weeks or whatever. That's literally 1/8 to 1/10 of the Russian military, so it's not that big of a number. So
the last one I have is one we've already played in the private chat.
The one in the private chat, the Larry Taunton one, play it again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No. That's not the right one. Hold on a second. Here it is. I'm sorry. It will look similar though.
Newscom. When you think about it, he's kind of retarded. People say he's gay because of the way he moves. He's always doing his weird little dance when he talks, but I don't care about that. I just think he's incompetent and retarded. They say he likes to watch. Remember, his wife had sex with Harvey Weinstein. Remember that? She said his penis looked like a fish. If you think about it, it was probably a small little fish, like a baby goldfish. Anyway, Gavin was probably sitting on his little cock chair watching, believe me. I
didn't hear that part of the speech earlier, so yeah, it's
that was great.
All right. I'm sorry. We'll move on. I apologize. Next thing we're talking about is Bondi doing her job. Breaking headlines. Bondi does her job, but not completely, just the bare minimum. If you only want to wear 16 pieces of flair, do the bare minimum. I mean, okay, but some people like to wear 25 pieces of flair.
You are on the Office Space trip today.
Well, I mean, Office Space literally has a quote for almost every situation that's worth.
Like, so this federal pounding, yeah, yep.
You ever have a case of the Mondays? No, fuck no. Two girls at one time. All right, here we go. Minnesota judge blocks federal charges against Don Lemon over anti-ice turts disruption. Okay, so I think it was Monday that we watched this. Yeah, because that happened over the weekend, and we watched it on Monday, and we talked about it. Joe, what was your prediction as far as arrests and things like this? It was the same as mine. So
none. Yeah.
So I'm happy to say we were wrong. That being said, Don Lemon has still escaped the long arm of the law, but we might have a part 2 on that.
I want to point out that William Kelly's arrest proved what a fraud he was. He put out that video saying, "Come for me. I'm ready for you. You're going to have to kill me." And he went along crying like a little, what.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He literally did the "I thought this was America" meme. It was too good.
Minnesota federal magistrate judge rejected charges against a former CNN anchor, Don Lemon, in connection with a demonstration outside of St. Paul Church where anti-ICE agitators shut down his Sunday service. As we detailed earlier, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced 3 individuals. Schultley, Louise Allen, Nakima Levy, Armstrong, and William Kelly charged in connection to the church disruption. Hold on a second. Department of Justice has sought charges against Lemon as well, but the judge refused to sign off on it. Now, Joe, this is actually fairly uncommon, is what my understanding is when federal law enforcement brings charges against, or the DOJ brings us charges, it's like literally a sewn up tight case when they do this. So the fact that he denied this portion is fairly unique. And oh, by the way, now they could just find somebody new to kind of take these charges to, because there's no there's no kind of double jeopardy here. Let's see. Lemon argued that all he did was commit an act of journalism by going inside, though his prior knowledge of the protesters' plan may implicate him in criminal activity. Yes, absolutely it does. In the conspiracy to commit whatever these acts are.
Well, 18 U.S. Code 241 is called conspiracy against rights. So,
right.
Boom, there you go. And being a lawyer is not a defense. The problem I have is that the magistrate has made him an instant hero with this. Right.
Well, yeah, that's right. And let's be honest, nobody was watching Don Lemon, and now he's probably got 15 viewers versus 10. So that's a 50% increase in his total viewers. Right. The attorney general is enraged at the magistrate's decision. A source familiar with the matter said, but wait, it gets better. Fox News' Bill McGunn reports the wife of the federal magistrate who nixed the arrest warrant for Lemon works in far-left Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison's office. Multiple sources tell me, and so this would be an obvious conflict of interest if this is the case, that the federal magistrate refused to sign off on the warrant for Don Lemon is Judge Douglas L. Micco. His wife works as an assistant attorney general in Minnesota AG Keith Ellison's office. Yeah, so I think this is like our next. No, it wasn't. I guess it was the one down here at the bottom. Yeah, this Nick Soder.
These people have come into our house. Oh, wrong one.
Yeah, no, just that. I'm sharing that exact same video on the second to last post on the thing. So go ahead and play that one.
Second to last post. Okay, that's gonna be way down.
No. I'm saying on the notes page.
Okay. Gotcha.
So anyway, let me just kind of continue on here. As we detailed earlier, Attorney General Pam Bondi on Thursday announced two far-left activists, one who played a key role in storming the Minnesota church, had been arrested. Jesus Christ, what a fucking... I mean, Blaine, what's your take on this?
Yeah, it's just bullshit. Will these guys will actually get convicted? Highly doubtful. I just don't see it happening. I'm sorry. My threshold for believing that federal law enforcement is functional, other than the cases I'm directly involved with, is pretty damn low. We haven't seen, Pam Bondi has not stepped up to the plate on this. They should have gone to a judge that they knew was going to do this in the first place. Don Lemon is not a journalist. A journalist doesn't take donuts and coffee out to the protesters to coordinate their attack in the church. He has failed. He created news. He didn't report news. So he was the easiest slam dunk out of all of these people. They're going to go to jail. They're going to claim that they are targeted by Trump, and they will howl and wail and everything else. You need to move them like we did Maduro. You haven't heard squat from Maduro.
Yeah.
They need to be locked up and not given permission to be doing interviews and things along those lines.
All right, let's go to the next one here. This is activist.
This photo that's up. Steve has it right. Put that photo back up. These people raise their fists like they're freedom fighters when they're the most pampered people in human history. 100%. This woman has had to work for nothing in her life. She's been given everything.
Her hair and her nails kind of show that, right?
Yeah.
Not the aesthetics of somebody who works for a living. Her name is in fact Nakima Armstrong. She was the kind of the leader, the ringleader of this whole thing. Key organizer of the anti-ICE disruption that stormed the church service at City's Church in St. Paul. She is arrested. Let's pull up her. What is she talking about? Yeah, just no. You're go to the notes page. Go to this. No. Go to the notes page. Go to the second one. No, I'm sorry. I went to Nakima. That's the third one. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I wanted to do the leader first. I didn't order them right in the notes page. So this is the leader. They rolled her up, and then just to remind you how annoying she is. Listen to this.
I moved back to the hood for the justice. North side, time to ride for the justice. I want to see youth get some justice. We got to speak the truth to get justice.
Oh my God, she could rhyme justice with justice. This is pure poetry, guys.
I mean, this is just absolute beauty. I can rhyme one word with the exact same word.
With the same word. How? I mean, and the sad thing is the way she says it, they actually don't really even rhyme together. It is literally the same word. Yeah. So this is the genius that was heading up this protest.
Oh, wow, would you look at that? Huh.
Yeah, Duke of Malta, you said it, brother. No justice, no peace.
I wonder if she gets public assistance.
Boy, I wonder.
Cannon says these people never experience real world
That's
consequences.
true. Everyone's afraid to let her face justice. I'm glad to see that somebody is.
You know what I'd love? I would love for them to basically lay the charges down for her and basically say, listen, there's no plea deal here. You're going to get 10, you're looking at 10 years federal, no parole, no nothing, unless you've got something interesting for us. And basically, what I'd love to see is basically the snowball, the kind of the rollover snowball, like what they would do with criminal organizations. Where you basically hit somebody with 25 years and they can't handle that time, so they start giving up all the people they know.
That's a real prosecutor, Scott. That's not Pam Bondi.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
You've watched way too many movies and think that's how the real world works. The real world works the way Pam Bondi works.
Torgo says she's round like a snowball. That's true.
Well,
allegedly she's a lawyer.
What's going to happen is they're going to wrap themselves in that they're victims because the left believes that victims are heroes. They started that crap with George Floyd, and they're still running with it. I mean, look at Mark Kelly. Everything he does is about him being targeted and abused and everything else. And now he's going to run for president.
Oh, my God. Don't get me started on that.
Destro.
Blaine, we before the end of the show, we got to talk about Virginia at some point, man.
Okay.
What? Oh, brother. All right. So this next guy is the one who got so much kind of FaceTime after the church invasion the other day. What's this guy again? Kelly something?
William Kelly.
Yeah. William Kelly. All right.
Be careful what you get in that top photo. They really should pan down so you can see that he's wearing a hat. Despite saying no kings, that has wearing a shirt that has George Floyd as the king.
Yeah.
So,
go
ahead.
Let's listen to what he had to say.
Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it. And for all the people giving me death threats, threatening my life, kill me. Go ahead, kill me. Because you know what? As Fred Hampton said, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
Well, we showed Jay how that works, didn't we?
I was going to say, it's an awful lot of dead Arabs in the desert that thought a similar thing.
No, just put him in with Diddy and give Diddy a case of oil and let things go where they may.
Very good. Very good. I like where your head's at there, Blaine. Here are the three that got arrested in this sting operation by
That third
Ace
one
AG. Yeah,
is on the Board of Education.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks like she ate the Board of Education.
You're not wrong.
All right. Let's see.
We're gonna have to clean the communists out of the institutions with a sandblaster.
So we're gonna end here where we began. We already kind of played this one, so just kind of skip that one. Go to the last link. We're gonna end where we began. Let's listen to Don Lemon here, and then we'll go to the response.
Look, I stand proud and I stand tall. This is not a victory lap for me because it's not over. They're going to try again and they're going to try again. And guess what? Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. You're not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead, make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want. Because I'm not going anywhere and I'm going to believe the same things, whether you want to, whatever. None of this is about justice. This is about power. And it's about people who are incompetent.
Make me into the next Jimmy Kimmel.
I would like to be a loser like Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, here's the thing. He says, make me into the next Jimmy Kimmel. And then where we found this video is in a quote tweet by AG Harmony Dillon. And she says, okay. So I get the feeling that they probably didn't realize that they had to be very specific to whoever was handling the actual, what do they call it? What is it? The assistant attorney general or whatever, or prosecutor general, whatever they call them at the kind of regional or local or state level or whatever. They probably didn't realize that. Okay, listen, you've got to actually get this done. So we're gonna do it now. And so I bet her. While Pam Bondi, I have no faith in her. Harmony Dillon seems to actually back up some of the things that she says with actual action. So I hope that we see in the maybe coming 24 hours, Don Lemon finds himself in a new situation. Assistant U.S. Attorney. Thank you. AUSA. That's right.
Something tells me he's going to enjoy it. Throwing a gay guy in a men's prison is probably not the torture that we all think it is.
No, don't throw me in that briar patch, bro.
Oh, I dropped my soap.
All right. Speaking of dropping the soap, Blaine, what's going on with Virginia, man? I swear to God, like these people are in charge for what, like a week? And
it's springtime for Hitler. And
oh my
Germany.
God, the taxes alone, like when I saw all the new taxes that they're looking at imposing, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is. This is Abigail Spanberger completely lying and not even like shielding it. They're in charge. They are violating the Constitution of Virginia by redistricting. Virginia had a very stringent approach that was in our Constitution as to how redistricting is done. They're just breaking it. They don't care. They're going to increase the taxes on Amazon, DoorDash, anything you get delivered to you. They're raising taxes across the board. They're adding new tiers to the tax code and taxing them under the auspices of we're taxing the rich. They're taxing people who are making anything over $70,000 a year. They are literally banning assault weapons. They're making it almost impossible to buy a suppressor. If you're selling suppressors, that's going to be the big item that people are
$500 tax on suppressors, right?
Yeah. They're going to ban assault weapons. Banning what they call high-capacity magazines, and I use that phrasing very specifically. They are literally out of control. They are making Virginia a sanctuary state. She has put out an order that local law enforcement and state law enforcement cannot cooperate with ICE. ICE cannot operate in any public space.
They're basically speed running California. Is what it sounds like.
They banned gas-powered leaf blowers.
Leaf blowers, yeah.
So, we were talking about dinner last night. It's like nothing's ever made me want to own a gas-powered, leaf blower, like being told I can't own one. And I'm going to put a suppressor on the end of it. So, I mean, it's just she's quite literally she's Gavin with a white coat. That's it.
Well, the crazy thing is she ran as kind of a moderate, right? That was, I think, the only way she really kind of got anybody outside of the Beltway to vote for her, is that she had some fairly reasonable positions on many of the kind of the state items. You know what I mean? Like those kind of issues that are kind of. But she's completely, essentially, backtracked on everything at this point.
Yeah, she is evil. I've said this all along with her, but the Democrats voted her in, and the only good news is they can't vote her in again, because Virginia doesn't let you run consecutively for that office. But while she's there, she's going to wreak havoc. There's a lot of talk. We were having this discussion. The law that formed West Virginia didn't have a timestamp on it. So there's a lot of talk, especially when you get down to Southwest Virginia, of simply joining West Virginia. When they formed Virginia, it was a county by county option. They actually are running the risk of entire counties just seceding over to West Virginia, which will cost them representation and everything else. But we're all going, why wouldn't we want to be a part of West Virginia at this point?
Well, don't they actually have the legal option in the state constitution to do that?
Yeah, it's totally legal to do. But now what's happened is people are talking about it, and I'm in favor of it. I would love it if my county packed up and went, and you could be looking at kind of a patchwork state if that happens. Random counties going. You might have Richmond and Charlottesville and the Tidewater area being part of Virginia, and the rest of the state merging in with West Virginia. And it's going to pick up in popularity. I mean, raising taxes 20% on DoorDash and Amazon and stuff. How is this addressing affordability, which is one of the things she pushed, was we're going to work on affordability. They're not. They just want all the money. And their whole thing is, and if Trump does anything, we're going to sue him. That's her entire policy at this point.
I'm going to disagree with Dangle, Matt. Not everyone who is former CIA is evil. The Assistant Deputy Secretary of War being one. Max Morton being another, and some of my friends being others yet. So
not all CIA is bad. Yeah, CIA, like a lot of these organizations, have got a lot of good people in it who think that if they kind of try to change things from within. But let's be honest, I don't know that that's.
Ron and Max both have presented it to me with the point that there are factions, right? One goes one way, one goes the other way. One side wins more than the other, and it's not the good one. And Derna, Ron cannot be on the show because he's a serving government official. He is the Assistant Deputy Secretary of War, and he is in Washington, D.C.
He's not allowed to have fun anymore. It's true. It's right in the contract.
And now he just sends me text messages with his frustrations. That's okay. We love Ron either way. So
I got to tell you, I'm having fun with it with Abigail Spanberger because I still have one more Blue Dawn book to do, and having her as one of the arch villains in there who gets comeuppance is really just going to be personally freaking satisfying for me and for many Virginians.
Was there a bit of a rewrite on some of that just to kind of fit her in there? Or?
No. I've been sketching it out, and I'm like, okay, I got a perfect role for her, and killing her is going to be a lot of fun.
That's good. All right. Guys, that's all we've got for today. 2 hours, 19 minutes. That's a pretty good show in the books. So please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, like the video, comment below. That helps. Shocking. Thank you for those who recently commented on the video. We did notice we got some more views on that than normal. So if you would continue to do so, that's very nice of you. We will be back on Monday, or who knows, maybe over the weekend we might see some action. Iran is kind of in the wings. Once Trump gets back in the States and ensconced in his dome of security, maybe he'll feel good about pulling the trigger. What do you got there, Watcher?
Breaking news. The U.S. has officially exited the WHO.
Again.
No, they had to put in a year's notice, Joe.
Yeah.
So he put in a year's notice, and now the year is up, and we are out.
Excelente.
By the way, that building's now for sale because the money that they had coming in to pay for it doesn't exist anymore. So, yeah.
It's molding already. That's right.
I am remiss that I didn't go around the horn before we left. I apologize. Joe, predictions, final thoughts, weekend action, or maybe next week, do you think?
No, there will be definitely some weekend action. The leftists are going to drive it up. The weather may slow it down a little bit because of the storm coming through, but there will be more leftist action, and I would anticipate some more church action on Sunday since Don Lemon didn't get charged.
Facts.
Yeah. I would love to see those charges come down, and that smug look on his face as he turns into the new Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, by the way, Jimmy Kimmel didn't get fucking arrested for federal charges, jackass. All right. Blaine, what about you? Looking in your crystal ball, what do you have on your horizon?
I see the Insurrection Act coming soon. I think Trump wanted to wait until he got Davos under his belt. We are one violent act away from this happening. And by a violent act, I mean somebody's going to kill or seriously injure a federal law enforcement person in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And the hammer's going to come down, and it's going to come down really.
Yeah, Blaine, I'm with you. I think it's only a matter of time before we see somebody self-actualize themselves into killing a federal agent. It's going to be bad if that happens.
Everything is in place for that to happen. All it takes is one unhinged idiot, and Trump's going to drop the hammer on him. And I think it's great. I think it's long overdue, and I hope a whole bunch of them get felony charged, thrown in jail, and are forced to face consequences.
Hell yeah. Hell to the yeah.
Well, Watcher.
Yeah, I've actually got two, and I'm excited by both of them. One, Joe already mentioned the riots, but I have something else to watch out for in Minneapolis, and that is a certain, shall we say, avant-garde art project that is currently taking place, where you see many thousands of people came together and donated crypto into a single pool, which has now reached around $7,000. And you can claim that if you are black and you go to Minneapolis and you follow Will Stancil around and wait for him to say something really libtarded on video and then say, "It do be like that, Mr. Stancil." I have heard from multiple people that there are a few light skin or shall we say darker skinned ICE agents who are constantly seeing him that might try and jump in and get a little extra pay on the side. I'm watching for it myself. It's going to be great. Thing too is, just to back up what Joe said, I believe, I could be wrong, but from what I hear, they called up MPs from a couple different places, including the big one that actually got leaked and announced was I believe North Carolina, right? I think that they've already been moved, and I agree with Blaine. I think that we are unfortunately just waiting for the violent act to justify it, because we all see the way this is going, and you can't do it preemptively. or else you just get called a tyrant. So, to all of our boys out there, just know that me and my family are praying for you every day, and we hope you're okay.
For me, I got Iran is going to get worse before it gets better, and then it's going to get way worse. I think. I think that the Middle East is not going to take us bombing the shit out of Iran well, and I don't mean that probably like Saudi Arabia and countries that are nominally our allies will treat us poorly. I think what that means is that you're going to see whatever is left in the Iranian machine, the IRGC, the Quds Force throughout the region is going to basically let loose. It's kind of like those death rattles, Joe. That's what I'm kind of worried about with Iran. There's a lot of undercover Iranian IRGC folks around the world. It would be very easy for them to either fade into the nothing, or if they're a true believer, take some Americans down with them. So that's what we essentially bring on ourselves when we drop bombs to end especially if we do end the regime with well-timed bunker busters, which I suspect is what Trump's waiting to be able to do. So to be continued on that for sure. All right, guys, that's all I got. Anything else around the horn? Nope. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Chat, you were awesome. I think I got all the super chats. We will be back on Monday or potentially over the weekend. We shall see. It'll probably be Watcher and Joe. I think I'm going to be out of the loop up in Seoul this weekend. So I'll tell you guys offline about that. It's kind of funny. So, all right, we will be back on Monday for sure. And until then, stay safe.